I begin my address by first of all paying my humble pranams to Mani Rangahari ji, Hariyattan for Malayali Swayamsevaks, who had been my intellectual guide and mentor for many years. I was fortunate to have translated 2 of his books, which gave me a lot of insight and a lot of support from Hariji. I am very humbled to have been invited in a place which was started and inspired and guided by Shri Parameswaram ji, who was an intellectual giant of his time and who laid the foundation of very strong intellectual base for Kerala work, Sangh work. And to be invited in a list of speakers, I saw the list below on the ground floor. Actually, that scared me a lot because I'm nowhere near the people who have been called so far. I don't know what made you call me. Maybe a list of books, but I'm not a good speaker. I'll try to speak. But having seen the name of the speakers, I'm under a lot of pressure. We all know that as the topic says, I will be talking about RSS resolutions because it's a topic, it's a body of work which people not really understood, they have not paid enough attention. Since childhood I remember resolutions used to come, sometimes they used to be sent to shakhas, some would be read, there would be no coverage in the newspaper and nobody realized that actually Sangh's policies, Sangh's strategies and organizational changes were all result of these resolutions. These resolutions reflected the will of Sangh, thought of Sangh more than anything else. People believe that, you know, some one person, Sarsangh Chalak drives the RSS, he feels something in the morning and he makes a policy, but it's not so. RSS is a very democratic organization. We realize when we see the mechanism of passing of the resolution. We also know that RSS is nearing 100 years, starting 100 years next year. 98 years are over. Today we have 68,000 branches, 25,000 weekly and monthly get-togethers. There are huge mass organizations like Bharatiya Mazdoor Sangh, Vishwa Hindu Parishad, Akhil Bharatiya Vidyarthi Parishad, whose own membership is in millions. So you are looking at a number of nearly 4 to 5 crore committed citizens of Bharat who work as per vision of Sangh, inspired by Sangh and guided by Sangh policies, which in turn are decided by the Akhil Bharatiya Prathinidhi Sabha and Kendriya Karyakarini. And in all these years, we have now 36 All India organizations and we have a body of work which can impress anybody. Somehow it has not been, so we can say that actually impact of Sangh is every dimension of national life. It is not something that we can say there are people come and say what is happening in Shakha, just 10-12 people. But those 10-12 people have a period of time resulted in an impact on social life of Bharat like nobody else. Sheshatri ji wrote a book of Vision in Action, RSS Vision in Action, which today had to be expanded into 6 or 7 volumes, where we talk about the work done in social intervention in religious, national integration, education, sanskaras, Gaugram protection, economic dimension, etc. In fact, one of the stories which I talk about in RSS 360 is work of Sangh in smooth entry of Dalit Bandhus in Guruvayur temple when there was a lot of effort to create misunderstanding and conflict in that particular area. Why it is so? Why people are not known? Because people don't want to understand Sangh, people don't know how Sangh works. And there is also deliberate misunderstanding created by vested people. Despite all the clarifications, despite all the information available, people have been berating Sangh for no reason at all. It is called a man-making machine training for the people, and we have seen people who saw the Sangh both from telescopic and microscopic glasses, they have been morely political. They have not been social or cultural way of looking at Sangh. We could have hundreds of PhDs on each and every aspect of Sangh. The way Sangh has been able to create a subtle fine-tuning of its structure, work and operations over here, the science of harmonizing different shades of opinion despite openness to discussion and criticism during meetings. It has created a firm structure which we can call open architecture, or basic rules are set, but you can keep on adding more and more organizations without disturbing its harmony, without disturbing its structure. So we have seen hundreds of organizations coming inspired by RSS, coming together, working together, apparently without conflicts. Of course, a lot of arguments. RSS Swayamsevak, who runs HSS in US, who had gone from here, once was talking to people in the camp. He said, I know some of you will find the approach of SSS quite boring and repetitive, but believe me, I am a systems engineer. We have perfected the science of organization. We all know the possibility of processes being perfected that are capable of being replicated, repeated with success, and we have been doing it successfully for years. That's how he looks at RSS. Human management, management of organization, the novelty of management thinkers. So when we say man-making mission, not enough research has been done how millions of people have been influenced to change their daily lives, to change their approach to life and also to society. RSS Constitution says it works for consolidation, reformation and strengthening of Hindu society for a strong Bharat. It wishes to create citizens of high character and disciplined society with high values. It is a cultural organization that has footprints across length and breadth of India. Its sphere of influence impinges on politics of India too. That's why its views are very important. Till 1994, when Prachar Vibhag was created, there are only two forums where the Sangh views were expressed. Those were Akhil Bharatiya Pratinidhi Sabha and Bharatiya Karyakarani Mandal. Akhil Bharatiya Karyakarani Mandal. It is only now that you see statements coming out regularly because things are moving faster. But still, to get the feel of how Sangh is working, it's very important to study the organization of RSS. As we know, RSS resolutions are passed twice a year, once during Akhil Bharatiya Pratinidhi Sabha, once during the Kendriya Karyakarani. And the resolutions are passed in both the bodies very democratically. Anybody can come forward, present a resolution. It goes to a resolution committee. They discuss it, form it. That is discussed for hours together. Sometimes a lot of arguments go into this before a decision is taken to go forward with the resolution. If there is no unanimity, resolution may also be dropped. And as we know, Akhil Bharatiya Pratinidhi Sabha is a democratic body with ex-officio members and also elected members from each district who come together, elect Sarakareva, who is elected for 3 years, and then he creates his own Akhil Bharatiya Karyakarani, in which members are given different responsibilities. So when the debate comes, one of the longest and most debated resolution was about trifurcation of Jammu and Kashmir, which was debated in '93. Situation was so complex that Sangh for the first time formed a study group to present what is the issue of Jammu and Kashmir. After the study group presented the report, only then the resolution was passed. Another resolution which took a lot of discussion and also better arguments were reservations, on which a lot of discussion was done. And not only that, story goes that when the whole day went into debating this resolution or reservation, Balasaheb Devrajji was not well. He was lying in a room and listening to the discussions. He was so perturbed by the discussions. Next day morning, he said, I want to go down and address the people. His colleague said, you can't even stand, you can't sit, you have pain all over the body. Why do you want to go down? He said, I want to address the people. He went down and he just spoke for 1 minute. He said, I've heard the discussions yesterday. I will not make any comments. I will not criticize or take any side. I would just say that before you speak, you think of yourself having born in a place, in a particular cottage, about which persons you are talking about. And he went away. And with that one intervention, the entire debate changed colors, and the resolutions are passed in a very different manner. If you see the number of resolutions and how they are passed, the topics that are covered, when I analyzed these resolutions, I found national issues, 40 resolutions, then minorities, 22 resolutions, Hindu society and its reforms, 15 resolutions, economic issues, 17 resolutions, cultural issues, 14, Ram Temple, 10, cow protection, 7, and Seva related, 7. When you come to national issues, you have Jammu Kashmir, 25 resolutions, Northeast, 17 resolutions, Punjab 12 resolutions, National Security 21 resolutions, resolutions on Bangladesh 14, Pakistan 15, China 4, Lanka and Nepal 2, and only 2 resolutions about RSS leadership. So there is no sense of personality cult in Sangh. One was about celebrating Guruji's 51st birthday, and another was about 100 years of Dr. Keshav Badiram Hedgewar's centenary. And when you go to the resolutions, you find this is virtually a contemporary history of Bharat, because the number of resolutions passed on various topics tells you how the things were at a particular time. And once the resolution is passed, it goes on the ground. It is taken to the policy level, and new organizations, sometimes new fronts, sometimes new bodies are created to take forward that resolution. I am not talking about emergency because that is a political struggle for the first time. Sangh in its existence fought against emergency and came out victorious for this, re-establishing democracy. I will not touch that issue. I will come up with some of the issues which we are not very well aware of because so many years have passed. There was a resolution about states reorganization. As we know that Sangh was not in favor of linguistic states. We have seen how linguistic states have finally ended up in a very parochial manner. And the resolution said that Kendriya Karyakarni Mandal expresses an anxiety over the unrest, discontent and atmosphere of mutual hatred created by the problems of states reorganization. This is 1956. It is view of the Karyakarni that the government of Bharat and Congress have by their short-sighted and undemocratic policies dictated by party interests further aggravated the disturbed feelings. I will not read the whole resolution. Then he says the Sangh considers it despicable to look to the foreign countries for inspiration and guidance and abhors their imitation and dependence on them. After this, there are a lot of meetings conducted by Shri Guruji to educate people on this topic. Mani Rangahariji mentioned a meeting in Mumbai where Guruji, at the peak of Maharashtra Ekikaran Samiti agitation, fearlessly spoke about the criticism of the linguistic states and reformation despite suggestions by colleagues not to speak. Not only that, Guruji also opposed Arya Samaj's call for Hindus to identify Hindi as their mother tongue. He insisted that even Hindus should identify their mother tongue as Punjabi. He was also the person who supported Punjabi Suba despite criticizing the linguistic states because that was the only state that was not allowed its due despite 10 years of state reformation. On the same topic of national integration, another resolution says in 1961, obviously the present not too happy situation is the result of lack of proper understanding of the true nature of our nationhood, resulting in a reactionary and imitative mentality and an overemphasis on economic, political and international questions. Then it goes on to say, a nation is not mere assemblage of human beings coming together for the fulfillment of temporary selfish ends. Then adds, Bharat is neither a new nation, nor is it to be built anew. The realization of the existence of our nationhood since time immemorial will alone help reinforce our national loyalties and re-establish the faith of those who during the checkered course of history have developed extraterritorial tendencies. It adds, it is necessary that we unhesitatingly recognize the Hindu character of the nation and give up notions of pseudo-secularism. We thought pseudo-secularism was a term used by Advani ji. It was used by Sangh way back in 1966. And we note that the debates still are on the same line, what was said at that time. So the narrative continues the same and Sangh stand also continues to be the same. Then there is the issue of language policy, which is very divisive as we know. The resolution in 1963 says administration through the medium of national language is an integral part of nation's freedom and sovereignty. To accept foreign language even as an associate official language is totally inconsistent with the spirit of nationalism. In practice, it will mean complete domination by English and thus deprive the various national languages of Bharat their due legitimate place. At a time when we are faced with aggression, it is unstatesmanlike to raise controversy over such divisive nature. Then there is another resolution 65 which talks about freedom demands that the administration of the country be conducted in own languages. A foreign language cannot manifest the nation's genius nor help its development. Bharat is a multilingual country. Various languages are used as mother tongues by crores of people. They have rich and glorious literature. Thus, there is not an intrinsic difference among these languages. It goes on to say that if they have close links with Sanskrit, then it suggests all the languages of India are national. They should be accorded equal status. Hindi should be used as an official language at the center, and regional languages in respective states. That use should begin immediately. And for some reason, concession to continue English be given to those who do not have sufficient working knowledge. All the national language used as media of examination from UPSC, English may be allowed to continue as additional medium for a specific period. So, if you remember, this is what the new policies are slowly coming to. This was a resolution which was given in 1965. Today we are following those policies. UPSC started giving various regional languages a way of examination. Not only that, the RSS suggestion of having regional languages, prime language of education has been accepted in new national education policy, and we also seen growth of regional national languages. Then there is a resolution which talks about Sanskrit being used, exclusion of Sanskrit from secondary school curriculum in the new education policy of the central government. This is 1989, and it goes on to extol why Sanskrit should be taught at the university level. We know that Sanskrit Sambhashanam was started in Bangalore in 1981 by a dedicated scholar Sri Chamu Krishna Shastri in 1981. In 1995, Sanskrit Bharati was established, which was consequent to this call for teaching Sanskrit to have enough people who can understand spoken Sanskrita. Today we have 10 million people trained to speak Sanskrita. 1 lakh teachers have been trained to train people in Sanskrita speaking, and there are 6,000 homes who speak Sanskrit. There are more than 6 villages who speak only Sanskrit, and there are 4,500 centers across Bharat and world in 24 countries. So 2 or 3 resolutions resulted in a total new way of teaching languages and issues on languages. Then you know about the resolution in 81. There was a resolution passed to criticize the Meenakshipuram mass conversion, in which about 1,000 families had changed the religion. Work had started to reach out to the people. At the same time, in 82, there were riots in this, so there was inciting elements of internal disruption, and the goal of the disruptionist forces was to what we today call breaking India. So Akhil Bharatiya Kendriya Karyakarini talked about the shopping incident of Pulengudi and other places in the vicinity of Meenakshipuram in Thiruvanelveli district. And because of this resolution, around that time, Hindu Munini was born in 1980 to counter vilification of Hindu gods. And the first gained public awareness in 82 when it began to motivate people of Hindu population of Ramanathapuram district against Meenakshipuram conversions. And most remarkable achievement of Hindu Munini was the organization of Vinayak Chaturthi processions. As you know, they are the biggest. There have been efforts to stop them. Not only that, there was a massive Ekatmata Yatra in 1983 when 6 big yatras and more than 200 subsidiary yatras taken all over India. When Ganga Jal and Bharat Mata picture were put on rathams and trucks, and people would go and pay homage to Bharat Mata and take Ganga Jal as a prasadam. This got 10 crore people connected to Sangh work and Rashtriya Ekatmata. And this was the first time when Sangh became a mass movement from just being a Shakha oriented organization. And these yatras led to finally the precursor to Ram Mandir movement. When we come to social harmony, in 1985, ABKM passed a resolution on Gujarat turmoil when the reservation issues were brought up, and there were riots for nearly 15 weeks on which Sangh passed a resolution. It said, however, to credit of patriotic people of Gujarat, and especially the Harijan section who have refused to walk into trap and maintain their mutual goodwill and amity. The resolution says the inspiring manner in which people have responded to the goodwill campaign launched at scores of people by the Sangh and Vishnu Hindu Parishad and Sadhus and Mahatmas taking the lead for maintaining social harmony has shown how the kind of right appeal to the right people can bring in right atmosphere. Sangh workers have spared no pains in promptly bringing succor and relief to thousands of riot-stricken brothers and sisters. Then we will realize that when the resolution was passed, as I talked about, it was not easy task. There were a lot of resistance in Sangh Swayamsevaks also, and I already detailed the discussion, so I will not repeat the incident of Balasaheb Devrajji going down, talking to the delegates and bringing to their mind the sensitivity of the issues. But I remember that there were meetings all over Bharat where senior Pacharaks would tell the Karyakartas that why the reason of reservation, what is the status of scheduled caste, scheduled tribe people, and convince them that we should not oppose it and we should support their strengthening. And this led to a lot of change in our own behavior, even own look at the reservation issues, and there used to be even arguments within families. But Sangha Swayamsevak understood, and that is how there was coordination, there was harmony in the society. And 84 there was a resolution again where the Sangha opposed special concessions of SC/ST to be extended to Christian and Muslim converts. It also in 1990 welcomed the reservations to scheduled caste to Neo-Buddhist, and also opposed again the people who got converted with these reservations. I will not get into argument of details why it is opposed, but that policy has stood test of time, and even government today has gone to the court saying this cannot be given. Not only BJP government, other governments also. So approach is to mainstream the approach of various governments now, despite mischief being played by political parties. Only few days back, High Court has thrown away another act of giving reservation to minorities. And there was a lot of trouble in 1994 about the social harmony issues. A lot of riots took place, a lot of anti-social elements worked on that. So there was a revision of bringing in unity and harmony of the entire Hindu society. It says that caste-based divisive social structure and obnoxious outdated customs are totally repulsive to our dharma and extremely harmful to our national life. So people who say that we talk about casteism, we support casteism, here is the reservation. It therefore especially calls upon all the socially alert people to devote to the noble ideal of social justice, harmonious social structure, to come forward to counter the vicious propaganda of divisive forces, help create pervasive strong atmosphere. Then in 2005 it again passes a resolution. It says it expresses deep concern over the increasing incident of caste rivalry in the Hindu society. ABKM appeals to the core message of Samarasta, social harmony, and Hindavaha Sadoraha Sarve, that is all Hindus are brothers and sisters. Caste-based untouchability and feeling of so-called high caste, low caste are evils haunting our society. Unfortunately, such incidents occur in the society even in this day of manifesting the worst form of caste discrimination. Hindu society will have to get rid of the evil at the earliest. Inventing caste-based new conflicts in the Hindu society for the sake of political benefit has become a trend of many politicians these days. We understand, despite Sangh efforts, sometimes successful, sometimes not so successful, and Swayamsevak on ground, even today the politics being played out, and this resolutions 2005, PSN resolutions 1994, 84. In the 2007 resolution, Sangh brings out what it has done to bring in social harmony. Akhil Bharatiya Pratinidhi Sabha expresses its immense satisfaction over the fact that the year-long celebration of Shri Guruji's Janma Shatabdi has achieved unprecedented success in delivering the core message of social harmony, Samajik Samarasta, to every section. It then goes on to talk about variety programs of Samarasta Yajna, Kalash Yatra, Samarasta Daud, Hindu Sangam, Santa Samagam, Samajik Sahboj, etc., which were arranged all over Bharat and around the world, along with the seminars, symposia, Sadbhav Baitaks, Hindu Sammelans, to spread the message of social harmony. Then it extends contribution to the people of honorable members of Jana Shatabdi Samitis and Samarakshak Mandalas. And it says, as a result, cutting across different caste and sect, religion, and political parties, the society has experienced strong feelings of social harmony and goodwill. It may be recalled that through the sustained efforts of Shri Guruji, the saints of various religious denominations came together and formed Vishndu Parishad in Sandipani Ashram with Pujya Swami Chinmayanand in Mumbai in 1964, that talked about proclamation of Na Hindu Patito Bhavet, and then in Udupi, Hindaha Sahodara Sarve, that was in Prayag in 66 and Udupi. In the year of Guruji's Shatabdi, this is how the work was done to bring in Samarasta, and that work is going on. After the resolutions were passed, we see how resolutions get converted to action on the ground. Then we know about the temple, we know about the Ram Janmabhoomi resolution. I will not speak at length because many of your people remember also. But it says this is at the time of unlocking of the Ram Mandir temple locks. It says that the birthplace of Sri Ram, the symbol of utmost devotion of countless crores of people, has naturally opened the floodgates of jubilation among all the countrymen lovers of culture abroad. Akhil Bharatiya Pratinidhi Sabha therefore offers its grateful compliments to sadhus, sants and acharyas, the Ram Janmabhoomi Mukti Yagna Samiti, Vishnu Hindu Parishad and the other devout Hindu organizations for rousing the Hindu conscience and putting up a united Hindu voice. We know the resolution led to renewed approach to Ram Janmabhoomi movement. It is a history now. It resulted in raising the consciousness of a society and a new awakening. Society rose above caste, creed, religion, language, etc. We have seen the result of this movement were not just limited to rebuilding the Ram Mandir, but awakening the selfhood of our nation. It broke the colonial mindset of majority of our people. We have seen a lot of new authors coming up, a lot of new writers, a lot of new intellectuals who have gone back to their own understanding and talked about the Bharatiya civilization after this huge experience of Ram Mandir. Then there is a resolution about need to maintain dignity of women. It is in 2009. The Akhil Bharatiya Pratinidhi Sabha wishes to emphasize the Bharatiya values that envision man and woman as fundamentally complementary to each other. Because many people believe the sun doesn't give space to women. So here it is. With mutually understanding relationship, engage themselves in their respective roles to build harmonious family and contribution in all walks of national life. Bharat's history and literature is full of instances illustrating women's glory and greatness. In Rigveda, the oldest treatise in human history, more than 30 women are mentioned as seers who have contributed mantras to it. Its body text amply illustrates the splendid contribution of women in all walks of life. It says the ABPS expresses its concern over scornful attempt to destroy dignity and honor of women folk, thereby destroying our family system by way of depiction of vulgar and obscene pictures and visuals of women in advertisement, magazines, periodicals, news channels, television serials and movies. It is deeply distressing that in addition to female feticide, dowry violence, they are subject to sexual abuse at workplace, public place and even homes. The ABPS profoundly feels the need for a radical transformation in the minds of the society to a meaningful change to this deculturalization situation. It says you cannot rely on government only. The society must honestly realize it is created by the institution of family and woman is the pivot of the family. Hence, a developed society cannot be envisaged without an enlightened, awakened and empowered woman. It is a pressing necessity that families, education system, media and society must change their attitude to ensure a respectful behavior towards women. Then it went on to appeal to saints and social leaders to take up the leading role. We know that this resulted in Kutumba Prabodhan Gatividhi in Sangh, where now there are Kutumba Prabodhan Pramukhs. The idea is to spread the message of nurturing family values, nurturing Hindu values at home, and this is one of the top topics in when the Sangha completes 100 years. An organization called Sri Sakti was also formed to create an idiom of Bharatiya feminism different from Western idea of feminism. We also know that what Sangha said in 2009 is becoming a major threat from the newfound woke, new left lobby internationally and nationally. So there has always been a very long-term view of Sangha on various issues. Then you look at rewriting of history. In 1982, Sangha passed a resolution. It says the guidelines issued by the National Council for Education, Research and Training for rewriting of textbook of history is bound to give rise to apprehension in the mind of every thinking patriotic person. You see, this was the rewriting done in 1982. So now we are not rewriting history, we are only correcting history which was rewritten, what was already present in history in the way the Marxists wanted to be presented. It suggests that this NCRT division of history into Hindu, Muslim, British period should be given up, maybe accepted, for the stream of national life of Bharat has been unbroken flow since ancient times. However, the other directions of NCRT, such as not to term the aggressors who had chosen to settle down here as foreigners, even though they had not identified themselves with the national life, to discontinue glorifying any past period of golden age, will only defeat the very purpose of teaching history. That struggle is still going on. What happened after that was there was a formation of Itihas Sankalan Samiti. It was envisioned by Moroband Pingreji, who was one of the first generation Pracharaks who was reared in the first shaka of Dr. Hedgewarji. He envisaged this particular idea, and this Akhil Bharatiya Itihas Sankalan Samiti was established in 1983, and Saraswati Shodh Abhiyan was launched when they traveled to Himachal Pradesh, and he was accompanied by V.S. Vakhankar, one of the most eminent Indian archaeologists, and also Sangh Swayamsevak. Then they found out Saraswati River, and that changed the entire narrative of Aryan invasion theory. So what we see today, the affirmation that there is no Aryan invasion, that all of us have the same DNA, this was as a result of Sangh's initiative taken way back in 1973. It has come to fruition now. So the critical changing in narrative of Aryan invasion theory was the first task by Arjun Singh to stop grant to this project. So you can see how the struggle keeps on taking place, and not just a moment of social harmony programs at the mass level, but also work at intellectual level, academic level, that created challenge to century-old West-led expedition to colonize Bharatiya mind. In 2004, Sangh talked about demographic threats. It was called communal, and it was the first study was done by Vigil, a Sangh-inspired group in Chennai, which published a report on the demographic changes in Bharat, and Sangh has been talking about it since 1982, and that is how this particular resolution came, and now it has been recognized. I will not get into details of this resolution, but we find what it says. The ABKM is of the opinion that three principal reasons for these imbalances are lack of uniform population control policies for all religious groups, religious conversions, and infiltration from Bangladesh and Pakistan. Now look at this. What it demanded was central and state government should develop a comprehensive policy for uniform population control of all religious groups. All state governments should legislate and enact effective anti-conversion laws. Central and state government should take all necessary steps to stop infiltration. And central government should adopt a policy to take infiltration. Now this, what Sangh said was again proven in the later census, and now it has become a policy statement for central government and state governments in many places to change laws and bring in the uniform civil code, enforce population control. This was brought in at that time. Now I come to the main challenge to Bharatiya nationhood. This was talking about research as already told. So if you look at the Sangh focus on this issue of huge conflict and danger to nationhood and integrity, Jammu Kashmir saw 25 resolutions, Northeast region saw 17 resolutions, and Punjab saw 12 resolutions. For each region it was found its own way of pouring oil over troubled waters. It was not a uniform policy in three regions, I will come to that. Depending on the local situation and its own strength, it devised different ways to overcome the problem. The Jammu Kashmir resolutions passed in 1953 first, because in 1951 we started passing resolution when the new constitution was brought in for Sangh and all this new organization setup was formalized. So it talked about awakening the conscience of the nation, educate people and politicians on the danger and possible solutions to help create organizations to mitigate pain of Kashmiri Hindus. This was 1953. RSS was acutely aware of international conspiracies against India about accession of Jammu Kashmir. Its Swayamsevak successfully struggled to stop onward march of Pakistani troops. Hundreds of them lost their lives. First they fought along with Dokra forces, then with the Indian army, worked on the ground with Indian army, and not just physical and integral support. Guruji visited Maharaja of Kashmir to persuade him to be part of Bharat. He agreed, but then as you know there was a lot of mechanization of Nehruji and his group who wanted him to pay a price because he had stopped Nehru from entering Kashmir without permit. And it was delayed finally. When the partition took place and refugees came to Jammu in 1947, they never got full rights. On that, Sangh also did a lot of Seva projects, and what we see, Article 35A, lack of citizenship to these people, continuously this was brought out by Sangh in various resolutions and also work on the ground. Jammu Kashmir Praja Parishad, who spearheaded the abrogation of Article 37, was called communal. It was supported by Sangh because it was a strange situation that those who wanted integration with Bharat were called communal, and those who wanted special rights for minorities because Kashmir was a state dominated by minorities, they were called secular. But Sangh stood its ground. It took consistent stand on Article 370. It showed flexibility and fine-tuned strategy, as we saw in progressive modification of its approach. There was one study group in 1993. The Jammu Kashmir Study Center was founded in 2000, and an entirely new approach was taken up. And it also supported Indian security forces for that worked at huge risk to the region. It berated opposition political leadership that enjoyed power at the strength of same security forces, but went on criticizing it. The blatant discrimination of Kashmiri politicians against people on other regions was also brought out, and it was given. Sangh gave emotional support to forces and the people. It did not shy away from criticizing political parties, but also stood with the government when it came to the case of integration with Bharat. It was because of these efforts that Pakistan had to stop cross-border terrorism and withdrew into POJK. I talked about Jammu Kashmir Studies Center, which changed the entire thinking and narrative of Jammu Kashmir, which finally saw the nullification of Article 370 and also the Jammu Kashmir separate constitution. I come to Northeast. I am not going to do individual resolutions because too many number. I am just giving a summary of how Sangh passed those resolutions and on the ground had worked on that. In case of Northeast, we know Sangh stepped into this region in 1950. So there were some shakhas when Dattopanji went in 1946. BAN or RSS stopped the work when Eknath Ranade went to Northeast in 1950, and he found after 1 month of travel, he found the situation alarming. He came to Sangh and Maharashtra and said we want pracharaks, and immediately 10 pracharaks went to Northeast, 8 from Maharashtra, 1 from Rajasthan, 1 from Punjab, and Sangh work started. It had limited strength and lack of resources. It focused on building right kind of institutions. It worked silently in diverse ways with the local tribal population. It decided to work through vehicles of education, as the region only had churches and schools, and many Hindu organizations like Ramakrishna Mission, Jai Gurudev movement were there also working, but there was no coordination. It slowly recreated ancient links with the rest of Bharat, from which it had isolated for years. We know there is reference to Mahabharata, there is reference to Krishna, and I also Ram in various scriptures and history of these states in Northeast. The isolation was further exacerbated by dominant church and later by governments by neglecting the region. Understanding the enemies and its weakness in countering very powerful church, it chose the path of education, seva, strengthening the local tribes. Only after it understood the region well, it passed the first resolution in 1961. And you'll be surprised that after Vishwa Hindu Parishad conference in 64 in Prayag, the first convention outside Bharat was organized in Assam, inspired by Shri Guruji. There was criticism saying that tribals are not Hindus, they are animists, they worship animals and they worship nature. Guruji went on to say that we also are animists, we also worship Naga Devta, we also worship nature. So we are like that only, they are also Hindus only, but we are not insisting that they call themselves Hindus. They have their own tribal culture, so Sangh also nurtured indigenous movements and didn't force any change in their behavior. There was criticism of beef eating also. He said there were wrong dietary habits of those time, and as they become integrated with Bharat, slowly this will also die down. So that was the first attempt of bringing those tribes and bringing in those people to a mainstream fold because they were feeling very isolated. Then Maharashtra became the parent state for Northeast region for providing pracharaks and other resources, opening hostels. And Maharashtra has largest number of hostels for Northeast students. Student experience in interstate living. When college students exchanged from Northeast to Bharat and Bharat to Northeast, I should not use word Bharat and Northeast, just trying to distinguish the two, Northeast part and other parts of Bharat. And then there was Seva Bharati, Vidya Bharati, Vivekanand Kendra became major arms of social change. Local indigenous tribe organizations were also formed. As I said, we didn't try to convert people, we just tried to bring the pride to their culture and their religions, because church was destroying their respect for their own religion. They had to break their idols, they had to burn their scriptures, they had to say people don't convert, don't belong to a family. All that was stopped, and these movements are gathering strength. And this newfound confidence, there was readiness to struggle against the church domination. And these have slowly, we have seen that Christians who have slowly awakened to ancient faith and social roots because of years' effort. Now even the Nagas and Mizos and other tribals who have converted to Christianity, they have come back to tribal fold saying we may be Christian by worship, but we cannot drop our tribal allegiance, we cannot drop our tribal customs. This is the change that has brought in by Sangh, intellectual approach to Northeast. And then there was also issue of huge infiltration of East Pakistan, then now Bangladesh, and there was complete opposition to any infiltration, any migration to Assam. It was Sangh's consistent stand that people who are coming here to survive or to escape persecution must be accepted. Those who come for economic reasons should not be. So RSS was one of the rare organizations that supported cause of non-Muslims like Chakma Buddhists, Riyangs, and other traditional faiths for the Hindus who were thrown out of East Pakistan and Bangladesh. And Seva Bharati was working for their relief continuously. And slowly this idea of, this distinction between immigrants who are persecuted and immigrants who come for economic benefit was brought in. And we see the new CAA that was brought in was because of this consistent effort to change the thinking of the people in Assam and other northeast areas. It also provided relief to widows and members of the families. It had a lot of ground intelligence. A lot of people lost their lives, not in Jammu Kashmir, also in northeast and in Punjab also. So we see the 70 years of hard work which resulted in a huge change in 2014. What's it today is not just a Modi magic. It's a hard work of 70 years of Sangh people through various options to go and change the thinking of people there. I come to Punjab then. As you know, Punjab saw the biggest migration after partition. RSS played a major role in protecting Hindus and Sikhs along with the Akali Dal. It also worked for relief of those people, and a lot of people lost their lives. It is there in Sangh and Swaraj, it is there in my other books also. And I talked about this insistence of Arya Samaj of changing the mother tongue of Hindus, or Monas as we say, non-Kesdaris, from Punjabi to Hindi, which Guruji opposed. Resolution was passed, and this sense of persecution continued. That is the reason when the Punjabis was made, still there is bitterness. We talk about Khalistan. And when partition was done, Sangh formed Punjab Relief Committee and Hindu Sahayata Samiti in Punjab and also in Bengal. And there was not a family in Punjab and Sindh who will not speak that without Sangh we may not have been able to survive. That is Sangh work. And the first resolution passed by Sangh in 1951, the Pratidhi Sabha was formed, was appeal to the nation to help Sangh serve refugees coming from East Pakistan. And Guruji made a statement, after partition, lakhs of Hindu brethren living in East Pakistan have been facing untold calamities. And then he goes on to appeal for their support. RSS also stood up against Khalistani elements when the fire was fanned by political parties for electoral gains. The resolution consistently highlighted close blood relations of Sikhs and Hindus. For this, RSS paid a heavy price. We know Shakas were attacked. 25 Swayamsevaks died in Moga itself. But still, Sangh didn't change its stance. As per the resolution, Punjab Rashtriya Suraksha Samiti was organized, and senior Swayamsevak Jai Krishan ji, who spearheaded the movement, he counter-attacked the Khalistanis. The Punjab Suraksha Samiti also organized huge rallies, morchas. They went right to Punjab, met the President, Prime Minister, Home Minister, and they did not allow this friction between Sikhs and Hindus. And in fact, Pakistani track to diplomacy, this was told by a Congress member of parliament to me. He said the Pakistani told us that because we could not create conflict between Sikhs and Hindus, we failed in Khalistan movement in decade of 80s. That is the reason they started again fomenting Khalistan. They rewrote the scriptures. They paid funds to Khalistanis. Then new scriptures are written. A lot of scriptures are removed from the books. But we have been finding continuously, as we know that we are our one family. Just to explain what Hindu Sikhs are, my bhabi is a Sikh. My cousins are Sikhs. In their own family there are Hindu bahus. So there is no difference between the two. I will not get into detail because that is not the topic of the day. But this continuous refusal to allow people to create division between the people. If Punjab had split, if Punjab had gone to Khalistan, we would have seen a chain reaction of balkanization of this country. So how is RSS different? RSS takes a long-term vision, even takes contrarian, unpopular views if you look at it. Because when you read the book Conflict Resolution the RSS Way, or my thesis, you'll find that most of the resolutions were very different from the thought of that time. What the media thought, what the intellectual class thought, what the political leaders thought. But Sangh stood its ground And we have seen, as I went through these three issues rapidly, you'll find that slowly the nation has come to the thoughts that RSS expressed since 1950s to today. And the distinctive feature of the resolutions has been it never looked at disruptive elements and incidents in isolation, as most of the media and leaders tend to do in India. It connected dots to draw a nationwide picture of emerging present axis of enemies of the national integration. These forces have been recognized as Breaking India Forces by Rajiv Malhotra. Sangh talks about it. I'll just speak, narrate a resolution of 2003 which will show you the way RSS connects various dots across Bharat. Not looking at Punjab separately or looking at Northeast separately or Kerala separately. It talks about Malappuram district has been Islamized completely while the Hindu population in Kozhikode district has been reduced to minority. Marad episode, not many people are aware when there was an attack on beaches and fishermen were killed. Marad episode is only a recent example of conspiracy going on for last several years to de-Hinduize the entire Kerala coast. Terrorist outfits like Al-Umma, Lashkar-e-Taiba are actively engaged in this conspiracy at the behest of Pakistan's ISI. Game plan of these outfits is to make the entire coast a safe haven for smuggling of narcotics and weapons. They exercise control over many mosques, which have become warehouses of weapons rather than being prayer houses. The police have recovered many arms and explosives from the mosque of Marad also. It then goes on to talk about Northeast. Islamic terrorism activities in Northeast are also increasing. Increase in infiltration from Bangladesh under the patronage of some Assam government ministers has given it an added impetus. Resolution that added the dimension of church to the new conflicts. In addition, the church-sponsored Christian terrorism has resorted to violence as a part of conspiracy. Glaring examples of this are the latest attack on Kachar district by Mar tribesmen who have become Christian on Dimacha tribes who have refused to become Christians. Resolution underlined the instances like destruction of temples in Changlang and Tirap in Arunachal and putting cross after destroying temples in Jampoi hill of Tripura. And then it talks about Christian missionaries and terrorist tie-up in Northeast region. RSS highlighted the role of Assam Church, instigated by Church and NSCN, the missionaries and continuous engagement in reducing the number of Hindus, conversions and violence are employed as instruments to make only Hindu majority hilly area in Assam, North Kachar and Karbi Anglong devoid of Hindus. It went on to show Marxist collusion in the disturbances. The Marxists have joined hands with Muslim elements in West Bengal, indulged in wanton violence on Hindus during recent Panchayat elections. When you read this resolution, see how eerily it sounds similar to today's situation. So it says, many people have brutally been murdered in Dhantala, Omar Pota, Goshkar, Danda and many other places. Many minor girls and women have been molested, raped. Youths are being prevented from taking part in Hindu activities including RSS. Penalties are imposed on Hindu house owners for living in their own villages. Death threats are being issued. All these incidents are clear proof of the patronage given to terrorists in leftist strongholds in their own involvement in such activities. One of the sitting MPs of CPM has accepted that atrocities committed by CPM supported goons are a matter of concern in their own party. I remember then Buddhadev Bhattacharya talked about accepting the infiltration from Bangladesh. He lost elections. This is one of the resolutions that clearly brings about interlinkages between different disruptive elements. When the Sangh passed resolution, RSS did not let any soft corner of BJP also. When there was any reason to criticize BJP government, it criticized them also. To add a few points to summarize economic philosophy, RSS passed a number of resolutions mainly after liberalization began in 1990 to give Swadeshi a push and also caution government about unfettered opening of the economy, which led to the birth of Swadeshi Jagran Manch. And it's an idea now adopted by Bharatiya government too, to talk about Swadeshi, to talk about Atmanirbhar Bharat. So this was started in 1990 under the tutelage of Dattopant Thengri. Now we talk about Antyodaya, again Sangh's view on integral humanism, Atmanirbhar Bharat. And in every crisis, RSS exhorts its Swayamsevaks to take responsibility to face any problem. So it doesn't leave it to resolutions. The resolutions are brought to the level of field, and it exhorts the citizen of India also to come forward for good of the nation. We have seen how slowly the awakening has come. Now people have decided to talk about issues that affect them. So I have touched upon caste conflicts, minority politics and violence, and persistence about cow protection, clear stand against minority appeasement, national security, integrity of the nation, linguistic conflicts, counterattacks on Hindus and Hindu Dharma, nurturing Hindutva and stopping conversion, nurturing of cultural nationhood. RSS raised the first liberation of Sangh temple, so Hindu temple in 1959 resolution when it demanded the handing over Kashi Vishwanath temple. Ram Mandir came in 1986. The first demand was to liberate Kashi Vishwanath temple. It talked about economic reforms which have again come into being, social conflicts in troubled regions of Bharat, Jammu Kashmir, Northeast Punjab, reforms in Hindu society and harmony between various religions and caste groups as a primary of concern, message social harmony for the entire Hindu society, to celebrate saints and reformers. All the big dates are celebrated in our Sangh resolutions, and it also exhausts society for Samajik Samarastha. It forms Samarastha Manch, Vishnu Hindu Parishad, Bajrang Dal, Vanvasi Kalyanashram. All of them are working to bring Samajik Samarastha or social harmony in the society. Seva has become a vehicle of social integration and inclusive society. How is RSS approach different from mainstream socio-political narrative? We should understand the cultural underpinning of the nationhood. Sangh highlighted the concept of geo-cultural nationhood of India vis-a-vis Western concept of nation-state. One can conclude that the denial of this inherent cultural commonality of all the subcultures of India in the length and breadth of Bharat has encouraged tendencies and smaller identities in search of bargaining power and democracy, whether religious, tribal, or caste or linguistic. Mainstream views influenced by Western world view refuse to acknowledge RSS philosophy based on Hindu Dharma that is inherently pluralistic. It rooted to the soil of Bharat and respects all views. Its philosophy of pluralism, embedded in Vedic wisdom, Ekam Sat Vipar Bahuda Vadanti, and this is about tolerance, it is respect. Western view and thinking is conditioned by exclusivist worldview of Christianity or Islam. Western translation mixes up dharma with religion, so they view Hindutva from the same Western prism of religion, and that has been cause of much strife in the world for centuries. These groups believe that India is but a conglomeration of different nationalities, and they support separatism through insurgency. While some have even instigated belief systems, they do not want a strong India. RSS presented a firm view and culturally unified nation at the center with its arguments. To conclude, RSS response to various issues concerning our nation is conditioned by its view of unifying spirit of Bharat, overarching integral view of national security, not distracted by local factors or incidents. RSS no issues are seen in isolation, but in overall national perspective. Despite its image of working only for Hindus, it has always supported persecuted communities irrespective of faith, whose fate has not been even discussed in mainstream politics and media, whether they are Muslims, Buddhists or Sikhs. It fought divisive agenda in a positive way, and with stress on seva and disaster relief for every community. RSS the best possible intelligence due on the ground due to widespread reach and committed cadre. The news for RSS doesn't come from newspapers, it comes from the ground. It fine-tunes its strategy based on region and social environment. It is trained its cadre through its daily and periodical gathering for selfless service to the nation at any cost. It exhausts the cadre to take up any challenge. This approach underlines its philosophy that one can't depend on government alone. In democracy, people's participation equally important for the good of this country. It always reminds people of interwoven history of India since ancient time that is still alive in collective memory. This emotional bonding makes the task of calming the rough waters easier. Long-term vision of that helped RSS take forthright stand on national issues, and government and policy makers who never understood this reach. To summarize, RSS strategy identify fault lines with conflict-ridden society of a region, as also unifying factors, stress on unifying factors rather than talk about conflict, keep evolving and fine-tuned strategies, don't leave any issue to politicians, educate citizens to right kind of environment, lobby with the government, put cadre on the field wherever possible. We can say that national identity linked to the cultural roots with work on the ground has helped RSS and helped Bharat bring in major social changes and control centrifugal tendencies. 98 years of relentless work over 5 generations is showing result as Bharat awakens to its destiny. The renewed attack on RSS in recent times by left Islamist church, aided by so-called liberals, tells us that they understand the critical contribution of RSS to reducing the threat of separatists breaking India forces and the reducing footprint and irrelevance on the national scene that has made them intolerant of RSS. RSS has given new direction for 2025 and it completes 100 years. Samajik Samarastha, to recognize or do not support any birth-based discrimination. Kutumba Prabodhan, addressing the families how to imbibe Sanskritic values in coming generations, motivate people to give some time for nurturing social, dharmic and cultural values apart from doing one's family duties. Protect environment, stop usage of polythene, grow plants, save water. That we can do in our daily lives, not talk of very big things. Live Swadeshi-based life, a life based on Swa, self-food, mother tongue, use of Swadeshi products and living a Swadeshi lifestyle. Civic duties motivate people to bring in civic sense and discipline in our day-to-day lives. Looking at its record so far, one can be confident that these social interventions too shall help the nation become what is our destiny.
Thank you, Sri Ratan Sharda.